What is on your mind? And
Oh,
it's my turn.
I'm excited. What's your question?
Okay, this one I feel like we've all kind of maybe talked about, and
Mhm.
we've all kind of like even maybe had experienced it
Okay.
and been in that position.
Mhm.
Whether if it's like family, a lot of times in relationships,
Mhm.
even maybe in like the workplace. Is it better to be brutally honest or to spare someone's feelings?
Okay, so I default to honesty is the best policy.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am a very empathetic person and I think a lot about like how would I receive this
Mm-hmm.
in the moment. So I feel like you can sugarcoat things. Um that's hard. Give me an example. Give me a
Um.
scenario.
Okay. In a scenario where it's better to be brutally honest
Well,
or
just give me a scenario of something happening and then ask me, would I be brutally honest or would I lie to like spare their feelings?
okay. I don't want to make it so relationship focused. That's always the go-to, right?
Okay, yeah.
So how about this? Say you have a friend
Mhm.
and you've hung out with them for some time,
Mhm.
and you're growing within that relationship, right?
Yeah.
And you enjoy their company. You know, like you hang out one on one or in like group settings.
Okay.
But you're starting to realize over time you are seeing a lot of their projections onto you.
Mm.
That you feel uncomfortable because they're maybe making comments that make you feel uncomfortable or feel like they're sliding you when you're around them.
Mm.
You show up full support and honest with them, but
Mhm.
it always feels like they have this underlying animosity towards you.
Mm.
Now, do you address that directly and let them know what it is?
Mhm.
Or do you spare their feelings and just say, hey, I'm going through some things. I don't really want to, like,
Oh,
you
and
know,
like create distance without telling them what's going on.
exactly. How do you feel?
Ooh, I feel like I'm the type. You know what? I used to be very anti-confrontational. Now I think I'm more comfortable like confronting people. So I feel like
What started that?
I used to be a people pleaser. Like,
A lot of us.
yeah, and I feel like I just got fed up with like me extending myself for others in ways that they would not do the same for me.
Right.
And like yeah, I wasn't happy. Like I was doing things to make other people happy and I was not happy.
Hmm.
And so I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna start just doing what I like to do and what makes me feel good. As long as it's not at the expense of others.
Well, let me ask you this: have you, at the same breath, learned that we can't expect ourselves out of others?
Yeah, I think you and I have talked about this
For
before
sure.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like expectations, I'm gonna just tell y'all, expectations will get you hurt a lot of the time. If you
Yep.
are expecting things out of other people, you can only control yourself and what you do. You can't control other people. It's okay to have expectations, but I think you also need to be okay with the fact that like they may not be met,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I say all that to say at this point in life, I think I would be direct with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're grown. Like, I can tell you if I feel like you're coming at me in a way that's disrespectful or I don't feel loved by you or whatever the case may be. If you're my friend, you should be
Mm-hmm.
receptive to that and we should be able to talk and work through it. And if we're not, then like we probably don't need to be friends.
And you might even find, like, honestly, like a place of clarity, and also they might be informed on actions and behaviors that they don't realize.
That is
Because
fair.
I've always said to myself, like, even when it's like worse relationships, friendships, when someone is treating me a way that I don't feel is respectful, it's something in them and not me.
Yeah, that's the projection that you were talking about,
Exactly.
right? Like it might be an insecurity or like something inside of them.
Right.
They're projecting that on you. Or to your point, like they may not even recognize that that's what they're doing.
However they receive it, I think the best way is how you communicate is what matters at the end of the day.
So would you be direct then?
Yeah, for sure, I'd be
Yeah.
direct, and I feel like I think that everyone, and I'm realizing this over time, a lot of people need reassurance, and that reassurance comes from a place of speaking objectively and not subjectively, and speaking because you don't want to be, because some people say logic versus emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have both.
Yeah.
And to well balance that, to speak with logic, I feel like you have to lay out the scenario to provide a place of understanding of like where they're coming from, where you're coming from, and what the situation is. But with emotion, empathy, and also a place of understanding to create a sense of like, okay, like although I am hurt, how can we move past this, and how can, after we discuss this, not have any underlying feelings after
Yeah.
the fact?
Yeah. So it doesn't keep, because it's not fair to somebody to say, like, hey, we've worked through this problem. I've forgiven you. You've forgiven me, whatever. And then keep bringing it up later.
Yeah, and also that there's no bitterness
Yeah. Because
on,
that could
on both
be,
ends.
yeah, because that could be there. And even if you don't talk about it, like you're still
Right.
feeling that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good question.
Thank you.
I like that because I think we need to get into our emotions sometimes. And
Yeah.
like, these are real scenarios that
Yeah.
I honestly have like encountered recently. So
Hey,
that's good
we
stuff.
all do though. We all do, and sometimes we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So
Like,
that's-
you got me thinking about it. I was like, oh, actually, I think I've like been in that place a couple times.
Well, you all let us know your thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you've experienced it, let us know how you have addressed those experiences. And also, if you're having a hard time with that, drop that. Someone might be able to share like any advice or tips, or someone might be able to
Yes.
also relate. You never know when you're going through the same thing someone else will.
I like that.
Cool.
We're a community at the end of the day.
Cool.
It's a pod. We're peas in it.
And we are in the P pod.
All right.